Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays again from me and Tsunami. This time I'm going to be talking about what I'm going to be watching specifically this year. So I have my traditions, the things that I typically watch, the movies that I always are like a must. I have to watch that year for it to feel like the Christmas season for me. But also every year I try to fit in some other things, kind of either in a rotation or something completely new about the Christmas time. And this year, I wanted to do a series of these videos for the Halloween season, never got around to it. And so in that same idea, I decided, let's kind of mix the two and do some of the horror Christmas movies. So one of the ones I watched, it was on Netflix, it was called A Christmas Horror Story. And it wasn't like anything exceptional or anything that I had to write home about, but it wasn't bad. There were some stories that seemed a little more serious, some that were kind of off the wall. Well, I guess all of them were kind of off the wall because they all involved some kind of supernatural element. But there was it's like an anthology of stories, kind of like the Trick or Treat movie, and it dealt with 3 or 4 different stories. It had one with Santa Claus where his elves become like zombie elves and he has to fight them, and Krampus. And then there's another story about a kid who gets replaced by a changeling in the woods when their family is going to hunt, or not hunt, but find a Christmas tree, cut down a Christmas tree, and he gets replaced with a changeling, and so some creepy things happen with that. And then there's another story of a group of kids that go searching in this building where there's been a murder or suicide type thing. I can't remember exactly what was going on with that. But then, so there's a little bit of like possession going on with that one. And then there's also another one with this family, kind of like an uppity, not really good people family, and they get kind of taken out by the Krampus. So 3 or 4 different stories woven in, and like one of them has kind of a twist ending at the end that kind of ties the whole thing together. And I thought that was pretty clever as far as the ending goes. So another one for this holiday season that I'm going to be watching, kind of breaking the mold and going with the scary ones, is Krampus. Now, I've seen Krampus before. I think it may have been last season, maybe last 2 seasons ago. I can't remember. I think it was last season. I bought that movie and it was my first time to watch it. And I was expecting a lot more silliness from it. Not that there wasn't silliness to it, but I was expecting it to be like a really comedy heavy movie. And it has a little darker tone than what I expected it to have. So I'm looking, I remember I was impressed with the acting and everything. And some of the characters actors I know who in other movies have that more tongue-in-cheek, like goofy attitude about them. In this movie, they had a more serious tone, and so I was impressed with the acting. And so I definitely want to go back and see what I think about it on a second viewing. So I haven't watched that one yet, and I'm running out of time to do it, so I'm probably going to end up watching it Christmas Eve night once everyone has gone to sleep. I'll watch Krampus. And then the next one that I want to watch is Old Standby, is Gremlins, and it's just a fun movie. Gremlins so goofy, but it's actually kind of a pretty movie the way it's shot and everything, and all the surroundings definitely have that Christmas feel. So it's been 2 or 3 years since the last time I watched Gremlins, so it's ready to get back in the rotation for me to watch that one. And of course, Christmas time is a good time to do it with the setting of the movie. So there's 3 that I'm adding to my rotation to give it kind of that horror feel. And then you may notice up here too, Elvira's movie Macabre. Why is that up there? Because one of the movies in there is Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. And I watched that one a couple days ago. And it was my first time ever seeing that movie. And what do I say about that? I enjoyed it, but I think it's one of those that you gotta love the cheesy, goofy, old school B science fiction movies, and if you do, this one's up your alley. And if you love Christmas on top of that, it's definitely up your alley. So I enjoyed it. I love the Martian costumes, and for whatever reason they have like this tube that comes out the side of their heads on their hats, helmets, or whatever they are. And I thought that was pretty silly, and I like the look of that. And I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie a lot. I'll probably watch that one every other year or so too. So that one was a neat find. So I'm glad I found that one. I came across that one and gave it a shot. So I knew it was going to be goofy going into Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. It's got to be funny. And then last one out of these that I really want to try is Santa Slay. Santa Slays or Santa Slay? One of those. It's where Bill Goldberg, because I'm a huge wrestling fan, and Bill Goldberg is probably, after Macho Man Randy Savage, my all-time favorite wrestler. So I want to see that movie where he plays an angry, violent Santa Claus, I guess. I've seen a clip or two here or there. And so if I see that on Netflix, I haven't checked. I have no idea if that's on Netflix anymore. I know it used to be a few years back. It's a good chance it's not anymore. But I would like to see Santa Slay. So if that one's available on Netflix, I'll probably try and squeeze that one in too. And so other movies or videos that I've added into the rotation this year to get my son to watch was, he loves Godzilla movies. Him and I, we watch Godzilla movies. I have a big Godzilla movie collection, and so he's really enjoyed watching those with me, especially the older ones, 60s and 70s, where it's a little campier, a little goofier. You get the Heisei series or the Millennium series. There's more serious in tone, a little scarier with the Godzilla. So, but he really likes that 60s and 70s Godzilla, the really goofy, campy ones. And so, when I was a kid, being a Godzilla fan, I also watched Superhuman Samurai Cyber-Squad, which came around that same era of Power Rangers. Same idea. They were taking the Japanese tokusatsu, kaiju stuff, and then making American shows off of it. So, Superhuman Samurai Cyber-Squad. I remember when I bought this VHS, and it was their Christmas episodes. It's like a two-parter. What was it? When Kilo Khan comes to town. Oh, Kilo Khan is coming to town, and Do Not Reboot Till Christmas were the name of the two episodes. But of course, I have the DVD set now, and so I put those on and watched those with my son, and he really enjoyed those. And then also going along with that, another one that I watched with him that he really enjoyed, and he's becoming a fan of Mario, and so we watched the Koopa Claus, and this is my VHS that I got probably in first grade. I think I bought this from a Scholastic Book Fair form, and so they had a couple of VHSs, and this was one that I picked up, Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Koopa Claus. And so watched that one with my son. He had a blast with that one too. So that's what I'm watching this year. Some things thrown in to kind of change up the pace of things. Still watch my classics that I watch every year, but also these are some that are getting thrown into the rotation to break it up a little bit and introduce my son to. Not the horror ones. Not going to introduce him to those, but the Mario and the Superhuman Samurai Cyber-Squad. But that's it for now, and we'll see you next time on Media Tsunami.